All right, guys, let's get this practice test knocked out here. The first one, all you have to put on the first one, you can skip the leading term part and just look for the leading coefficient and the degree. Remember, the degree is the biggest exponent, which is that term right there. So I'm going to say the degree is 5. That's the biggest exponent. The leading coefficient is the coefficient in front of that term, which would be negative 12. All you got to do. 2 through 5 to describe the end behavior. That's where we go like, our gestures, even, odd, even, odd. Okay, so that one's odd, and it's got a positive 5 in the front, which means it's going down left and up to the right. The second one is even with the 6, with a positive 4. That means it's going up to the left, up to the right. Number 4 has odd because it's degree 7. It's got a negative in the front, so that means it's going up to the left, down to the right. And the last one, number 5, is even. It's got a negative 7, which means it's going down both directions. Okay, so that's 1 through 5. Number 6 says use substitution to tell if these are zeros. So all you're going to do on this one is plug the 2 in for x. It's about to get loud on my iPad. Sorry about this, but this is the best way. So you're going to plug 2 in. You do f of 2. It's going to give you 2 times 2 cubed minus 3 times 2 squared plus 2 plus 6, and see if you get 0. That's 16. I'm just doing my head. 16 minus 12 is 4. I don't know what that's going to be. That's not 0, though. So 2 is a no. I'm going to do the same thing with the 3. I'm going to plug the 3 in, doing 2 times 3 cubed minus 3 times 3 squared plus 3 plus 6. That's 54 minus 27 is 27. That's a no also. So I'm going to try negative 1. F of negative 1. I'm going to plug negative 1 in everywhere. I'm just doing this in my head. That would be negative 2 minus 3 minus 1 plus 6. That is 0. So negative 1 would be a yes. The other two are a no. Number 7 says find the zeros and state their multiplicities. The zeros on this are negative 2, positive 3, and negative 4. Negative 2 has a multiplicity of 2 because the exponent's 2. 3 has a multiplicity of 1 because it has exponent 1. Negative 4 has a multiplicity 3 because it has an exponent of 3. That's all you got to do on that one. And on number 8, we're going to have to factor that one first. So if you factor this, you would get x squared minus 3 and x squared minus 1. Now, x squared minus 1, you can factor some more. The difference of squares. X squared minus 3, you're kind of stuck. That's not a difference of squares. So I'm going to break this second one down. X plus 1, x minus 1, which means 2 of my zeros are going to be negative 1 and positive 1. This one right here, that x squared, it's a minus 3 in there. I'm going to come over here to the side, set it equal to 0 and solve it. Move that 3 over, take the square root, and you get this. Now, here's the deal about this one. I'm going to get negative 1 from there, positive 1 from my other parentheses. I'm going to get a positive square root of 3 and a negative square root of 3. All those have multiplicity 1. And if they all have multiplicity 1, I don't mind you writing it like that, just to keep it short and sweet. 9 and 10, I cannot show you the calculator stuff without having that's just right now making videos and showing you the calculator. I have to make a separate video for the computer, and we did those in class today. Please come see me before your test if you need some calculator help. I'll be glad to go over it with you. Number 11 says state the number of real zeros. The number of real zeros is always the same as a degree. The degree on this one's 8. Part B, state the maximum number of x-intercepts. Guys, x-intercepts are zeros. That's what they are, okay? So it's also 8. Part C, how many turning points does it have? The maximum number of turning points is always 1 less than the degree. So it should have 7 turning points max. Back, second page. What you're going to have to do first on number 12 is you got to factor it. And by that, I mean you can take out an x cubed, which will leave x squared minus 4. That's the difference of squares. You can break it down a little bit more and go x plus 2, x minus 2. So my zeros will happen at 0 because of the x cubed, negative 2 because of the x plus 2, and positive 2 because of the x minus 2. Now, because this was odd and positive, I know it's going to go down to the left and up to the right. Also, because there's no squares anywhere, there's no bouncing of the graph off the axis, so it's just going to pass through, and pass through. Okay, that's all you have to do on that one. Number 13 is already factored for you, which should make it maybe a little bit easier. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to have a 0 at 0 because of the x outside. I'm going to have a positive 2, a negative 1, and a positive 1. And that all came from what makes each one of those factors 0. Now, if you count the total number of x's, I'll see 1, 2. This x right here counts as 2 x's because it's squared. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is odd. Notice there's a negative sign in the front. So this is negative odd, which means it's going up to the left and down to the right. Now, there's a square right here, which means it's going to bounce off that factor, bounce off the negative 1. So it's going to hit the negative 1, bounce back up, pass through, pass through, pass through. There it is. Let's keep going. 14, this is also in your calculator. Remember, we go to y equals, punch this in, then we go to table set on your calculator. I usually try to set my table at 1 less than that number right there, than the 4, and then hit table, which is all in your top row, by the way. And what I'm looking for is to see if I have a positive and a negative with the 4 and the 5. And it doesn't matter which one's which. If they have different signs, and this one did, I remember in class it did have different signs, so we would say, yes, it does have a real 0 between 4 and 5. All right, now if the signs, if they're both positive or both negative, we would say no. 15, cube root problem, solving this equation. You got to get rid of the cube root, get rid of the radical, so I'm going to cube both sides. The left-hand side, the cube just goes away. Sorry, the cube root goes away. Right-hand side, I would get negative 125. It stays negative because it's an odd power. Move the 1 over, make it negative 126, divide by the 2, you get negative 63. All you got to do. You don't really even, I mean, it's nice to check that to make sure you got it right, but because it's a cube root, there's no extraneous solution there. All right, 16 has the absolute value. What should pop in your head right away is 2 bars, 2 answers. But do not do that until you isolate the absolute value. So first thing that's going to happen is the 14's going over there, okay, which is going to give me a negative 9. There's still a negative sign on the left-hand side, so I'm dividing both sides by negative 1. So I get that. Now it's isolated. Once you get absolute value isolated, remember 2 bars, 2 answers. Set it equal to 9, set it equal to negative 9, and you're ready to roll. So I'm just going to move that 4 over, make it 5, move that 4 over, becomes negative 13. That's all there is to it. 2 bars, 2 answers. All right, 17, still 2 bars, 2 answers, but you got to look and see if it's greater than or less than. This one is absolute value is greater than, which means it's an or. So I'm going to set it up this way. I'm going to say 3 minus 4x is greater than 10, or 3 minus 4x is less than negative 10. All right, now you just got to solve both inequalities. Move the 3 over, you get negative 4x is greater than 7. Be careful here, I'm dividing by negative 4, which means that sign flips in the middle. Or do this side. Move the 3 over, you get negative 13. Divide by negative 4, be careful, you're dividing by negative 4. Flip the sign, also negative by negative is a positive. My number line will look like this. I'm going negative 7/4 here, 13/4 here, empty circle, going this way and that way. Your interval notation, look what you shaded. You shaded from negative infinity to negative 7/4. And you also shaded 13/4 to positive infinity. And again, those are all parentheses because the circles are empty. 18 tomorrow, we're just going to omit that one. We haven't got, I thought we'd done that, but after thinking and looking back, we haven't. So we're just going to skip 18 for this week. Number 19, we have done this recently. What you're going to have to do here is multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate. The conjugate of 5 minus 9i, 5 plus 9i. All right. On the bottom, when you're doing conjugates, you do okay, first, last. So the first is 25. The last is minus 81i squared. I'm going to go ahead and just finish the denominator. I squared is really negative 81. Sorry, I squared is negative 1, which makes the negative 81 become positive 81. So 25 plus 81 is 106. Now the numerator, I'm just going to distribute 2 times 5, 2 times 9. 18i. And I would be done right there, except for I'm looking at all those numbers in my answer, and all those numbers are even. So I'm going to take a 2 out of each one. 2 goes into 10 5 times, goes into 18 9 times, goes into 106 53 times. Guys, that's it. Hope this helps. I'm going to post it from YouTube so you can actually, I'm going to put on Edpuzzle. Let's see who's really watching these videos that you asked for. So we'll see what happens here. I'll make it so you can skip all over the place though, as much as you want to. I can do that on Edpuzzle too. So can't wait to see you tomorrow. Please come see me if you need help before your test. All right. Good luck. See you tomorrow.